Wow, guys, what an episode we just got here. Episode 6 of Season 11 was absolutely insane. This final season of The Walking Dead is definitely going above and beyond to do something different compared to what they've always done on the show. I think they're definitely stepping out of their comfort zone a little bit. We have never got an episode like what we just got here. But if you guys have not seen the episode yet, I'd highly recommend going to watch that, or if you can't yet, then just pause and do not watch this review just yet. We're going to be going over tons of spoilers. It's going to be a full in-depth spoiler review of the episode, so just a clear warning for you guys. But with that being said, what about those crazy ferals that we got in this episode, guys? That was insane. The whole horror aspect, conjuring type crazy stuff we got in this episode was so creepy and eerie. It really kept you on the edge of your seat. It's one of the first times I've actually watched an episode of The Walking Dead and been like truly terrified of what I was watching. Like when Connie is making her way through the house and she's alone without Virgil, and obviously you can't hear anything because you're in her perspective. It literally made me so freaked out. I was like physically scared of what I was watching, which was awesome. That's what you expect from a Walking Dead episode, I feel like. They focus so much on characters and on drama in the show, which obviously is what keeps it alive. We care so much about these characters, but being able to get some of that horror aspect on the show too, definitely amazing. I hope that's not the last that we see of it on the show. I'm hoping we get something more like that in the rest of the season, but I'm not too sure. That was something so unique that they did. Those feral humans that were inside that house was unlike anything that we've ever seen. So it seems like these people grew over the last 10 to 12 years in the zombie apocalypse to start drawing people into their house, and they just kind of eat them alive or whatever they do. You see all those bones there in the basement that Connie sees, and that's probably where all their victims go, and they just kind of kill them or let them die off or something like that. But these people are so too far gone, and it's just awful. And this is exactly what the apocalypse could definitely do to people. And it's good of them to explore this whole side of things in the apocalypse, just to see like, hey, not everyone's going to end up like Rick's group or like the Commonwealth or like the CRM. Not everyone's going to be okay like these people. They're going to go to any survival instinct that they have left. And it looks like these people are just complete cannibals, and they could have eaten their own family at some point. You do see those creepy crossed out eyes on the pictures, and I just feel like that's their way of just separating themselves from like regular humanity. They're not regular humans. They think like animals at this point. The way they're crawling around, I was a little confused at first to say exactly what we were dealing with, because we had no idea what these creatures were going to be. They were just called creatures in the synopsis for the episode, so we had no clue exactly what we were going to be getting, if they were going to be walker variants or some type of bad CRM experiments gone wrong, or they were going to be just crazy people. And I was hoping they weren't going to be just crazy people, but the way that they did it anyways definitely made it worthwhile, and I think it makes a lot of sense the way they did it as well. I feel like if they did anything else like crazy walker variants or something like that, it'd be something very unusual for them to suddenly introduce in the last season of the show. I feel like they would have definitely got into that a little bit earlier on. It's been so long in the apocalypse that, the only way that could happen is if the walkers just kind of started to evolve, which is somewhat of how we got in Season 9 when the Whisperers first started to show up. Is our group started to think, wait, are the walkers evolving? Are they able to think for themselves now, kind of, and start legit hunting people down? So that's the horror aspect that I look for, and it's just amazing that we haven't got that since Season 9. Along with that, we do get Kelly and the rest of the group going to look for Connie in the episode, and Kelly finds Connie's notebook and she reads exactly what she had been writing when she first met Virgil, and Virgil does tell her that he knew Michonne, but he doesn't exactly go into detail of how he knew her, so we're gonna have to wait to see if he ends up coming out and saying more information on where Michonne went in the coming episodes. If you see my trailer breakdown for next week, I do discuss that, and we talk about when Virgil is going to tell the group, and if Judith is going to tell them as well. We're still waiting on that. I think that could definitely be like an episode 8 cliffhanger type of thing. But yeah, it was very cool to see Virgil back in this episode. I actually did not care for him very much last season when he was on the show, but in this episode, we definitely got to see the type of person he really is when he's not going crazy, and who he really wants to be deep down. And what he explains is that Michonne saved him and set him on the path to go find Connie, which was a very heartfelt thing for him to say, and he really starts crying when he says it. He is ready to sacrifice himself for Connie, and it seems like they definitely have a very close bond that they're forming in this episode, and I feel like they're definitely going to carry on with that later on in the season. I don't know if it's going to be just like a friendly type of bond that they have, or maybe it could be something more, because I definitely kind of got that vibe in a couple of scenes from them. They seemed very close with each other, but that could just be me speculating there. Either way, I think that Virgil and Connie have very good chemistry together, and I think they're very good characters to see on screen. They were two different characters from completely separate areas of the show last season, so just to kind of get them together in this episode was definitely unique and awesome to see. Just the tension by itself in this episode definitely was 10 out of 10. The rating was 10 out of 10. The whole story in general, and what happens towards the end when Connie and Kelly finally get to see each other again. And I gotta say, these two actresses are absolutely phenomenal at what they do. The facial expressions on their face, you don't even need dialogue when it comes to these characters because they speak in sign language, and just the way that they speak through their faces is amazing. And you see that a lot with Lauren Ridloff for the whole episode. When she is getting stabbed through the wall there by Virgil, just this expression on her face is great, and she's very good at what she does, so it makes sense that Marvel picked her up for the Eternals, and that's why she wasn't in so many episodes of The Walking Dead. But it is so good to have her back on the show. I can't wait to see when she gets to meet Daryl, probably in 2 episodes from now. I don't think they're going to be focusing on Connie in the next episode or anything like that. So yeah, I cannot wait for episode 8, but next week looks really good too. And on top of that, I do want to touch on it a little bit, is the whole Reaper storyline in the episode as well. To see Daryl do what he did with torturing that poor guy who ended up dying in the episode, it was crazy to see that he would go that far to really make it seem like he is a part of the Reapers. And I didn't expect that, but he really has to make Pope trust him at least somewhat. But you can see at the end of the episode that Pope definitely doesn't. He's such a very unpredictable character. No one expected Pope to go kill the hostage anyways, even after they got the information that they needed, but he just did. And he's like, I got all I needed out of him. And he just kind of gives Daryl this look, like he knows something that Daryl doesn't, or he knows Daryl's like an insider and he's definitely trying to take them out from the inside. So I'm very worried for Daryl and what's going to happen with him in the next episode. Obviously he's going to be okay in the end. But yeah, it was very cool to see that we got like a whole mix of storylines again in this episode. I think that's something they're doing very well this season. And obviously you can tell that this episode was definitely Connie and Virgil's completely, but you do have that whole Daryl storyline as well, and you do get to see Kelly and her group going to find Connie in the episode too. But obviously the big thing to talk about was probably Connie's storyline for sure, Connie and Virgil. But yeah, guys, overall, I gotta give this episode probably like a 10 out of 10. Honestly, I don't think there's any detractors I could really give it for any reason whatsoever. I think they did everything right and did it all the way that they could in this episode for sure. For the 6th episode of The Walking Dead Season 11, it's very awesome to see that they're still keeping the pace up for sure. We only got 2 episodes left out of this first third of the season here, and then we're going to have to wait till February to see anything else. So I hope they leave it on a good note in episode 8. But I'm really excited to see where the rest of the season is going, because I honestly have no idea what they're going to do. It's going to be a lot of original content. They can't really borrow a whole lot from the comics because of how much is different in the show. I'm really excited to see it, guys. But yeah, besides that, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I will be covering Fear the Walking Dead and World Beyond as well when The Walking Dead's over, so stay tuned for all that content as well. I do want to get a trailer breakdown out for World Beyond's 2nd season and final season on the channel here really quick. So I'll probably have that out sometime later this week. And on top of that, I do want to cover the Halloween Kills final trailer. I'm definitely going to branch out and do some horror movie reviews, and it's going to be great to see that movie as well. That movie's looking phenomenal. I did just see Malignant on top of that, which was a very great movie too. Definitely was very weird and, not the best James Wan movie out there if you've seen any of his work, but it was definitely cool. A lot of good content coming this whole fall season, so I'm so excited to cover it all with you guys. Thank you so much if you watched this far into the videos. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Take care.